Imperium has dominated the galaxy. There is only war. Every human soul, from the most highborn lord to the most basic servitor, is dedicated to the service of the God Emperor of mankind. The Imperium's battle fleets and armies, from the conscripted soldiers of the Astra Militarum to the elite space marines of the Adeptus Astartes, keep humanity safe from alien threats and cosmic horrors beyond imagining. But there is another war. It is the one in which I serve.
Commence war translation.
Our war is not one of battlefields and fleet engagements. It is waged by the dedicated agents of the Imperial Inquisition. It is fought in the cities and hives of the Imperium. In the back streets and the forgotten sublevels. In hive cities like Tertian.
We are surrounded! Don't get overrun! Through this door!
For if the Inquisition fails, if we fail, the Imperium falls with us.
Rejects who fancy their hands at mutiny should remember that I have an impressive array of switches beneath my hand. At least one vents the atmosphere from your section of the ship. Sleep lightly and dream dreams of good, loyal service.
Kate. It's good to see.
Speak to me of your accomplishments.
In the back. Why do they keep making movies? Yeah? Well, why don't you check that list again? Yeah, I'll wait while you check it. Mike and Jay.
Is he checking it? Is he checking it?
Yeah. Nothing? Well, what the fuck? No, I'm not drunk. You're drunk. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck him.
Finally, the world has opened the VCR Hall of Fame and exhibit in Toledo, Ohio. We weren't fucking invited to it. God damn it.
Don't they know that we've been busting our ass being VCR repairmen for the last 8 years?
Not to mention, we have one of the few remaining operational VCR repair shops in the fucking world. Don't they know who the fuck we are?
If anyone deserves free tickets to a soft opening of the VCR Repair Museum, it's us.
Goddamn right. From exhibits to the very first VCR built by Aberdeen Schnuckledorf in 1948 to the most current released model, and the history of VCRs, the impact on pop culture and American life. I mean, goddamn, I want to see those exhibits.
We've done more for the name of VCR than Toshiba.
In fact, you could say we've done more for the name VCR than Mr. VCR himself.
I think it's short. I think it's VCR.
Victor C. Rubenberg. I always thought this was. Did it stand for something? Is it an acronym?
Where did you even get that name from?
He's the guy who invented magnetic strip tape. DJ, this is why we need to go to the soft opening of the fucking VCR museum.
We're not frauds just pretending to know everything about VCRs for money.
We know our shit.
We're the only VCR repair shop that's approved by these companies.
And we are approved by Sony and Panasonic and Toshiba. We've got the fucking stamp of approval to fix their VCR, and we don't even get an invite. Have we done this already?
Oh, so we're talking about Godzilla now?
The bit.
Yeah, we're talking about that. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. It's the sequel to the last Godzilla movie. No, not that one. The one before that one. The only recent one that matters because it's American. We invented Godzilla, damn it. King of the Monsters is about Godzilla fighting a bunch of other monsters. Some boring human characters do some boring human stuff too. Or Godzilla is busy fighting a bunch of other monsters.
What else do you say?
That's the movie. That's the review. Thanks for watching. Mike, what did you think of Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
I didn't hate it.
It should be pointed out that both the movies we're going to talk about on Rotten Tomatoes have very low critic scores, but pretty high audience scores. I think the reality for both of them was right in between.
That's true. Because, to jump ahead from this one, I also enjoyed Dark Phoenix. But I wanted to point her, and I don't know if it's been coined yet. I'm not really. It's probably. But I want to say, watching these two films, both Bruce Black's critically, I wanted to call them blockbusters. Because they come out and they're like, Godzilla is 40%, and it's terrible. It's good high ratings, and then I look on Box Office Mojo, and under 20 million opening worldwide.
Godzilla. Oh, maybe worldwide.
Yeah.
For 50 billion or
57, 57 to 60, 100. I don't trust the budget thing. I'm assuming that's a guess. I don't, but it might be one of those like sweet spot or underperformed, whatever. That's why it's a blockbuster. Sure. Because it does pretty good, but it's not a disaster. It's not a Jupiter ascending.
And it's also not a Marvel Avengers Endgame.
I feel Endgame will be the last blockbuster. And it's appropriately typed because I can't think of something. Maybe sure you got this thing. Batman movie coming out. Star Wars. When I saw the Last Jedi trailer, I was like, oh, where are they going? I'm interested. What's happening in this? And then this, it's like, I watch it with Ray.
No, it doesn't plan down.
The usual Falcon flying shots. Surprised it didn't attack 2 or 3 typos, especially in the TV. Yeah. That's every movie. It's all the same.
I think that's what both of these movies are talking about kind of suffer from, is the fact that nobody's impressed by anything anymore. Everything's got too big. Where now you have these movies that are okay-ish, but it's like they're not Infinity War. They're not like this grand epic thing that's gonna like get people like riled up in their seats. They're okay.
I don't know. In the foreseeable future, I can't really see anything. Because the DC model gets itself out. The Universal movie monsters is self-destructive. Batman, Superman, the restart.
X-Men's gonna be rebooted now.
X-Men's in flames. Television. So it's like, what's big thing that's gonna bring worldwide audiences on? All these IPs are all like in ruins. So
I bet if you asked people leaving the theater from this Godzilla movie, if they knew it was a part of a cinematic universe, they probably would have no idea. Most people wouldn't. This is related to that Kong movie that came out. I think I saw that. It was okay.
On Skull Island?
On Skull Island.
It is?
It is. See, you didn't even know.
I didn't watch it. You know what? And while watching this, I could not remember if everyone in this movie was in the previous Godzilla movie. The only thing I knew was that Bryan Cranston was.
I wanted to quiz you on that. Because after we saw this, I rewatched our Godzilla 2014 review. Because I don't remember anything about what we said about it. And I was surprised that we showed trailer footage in that review. And I was like, oh, Sally Hawkins in Shape of Water. She was in the last movie. She's in this movie briefly.
I recognize Ken Watanabe.
Ken Watanabe. He was
he's famous as this like they do in the old movies. Not being racist, that's the way it says it. So you could stop your comments right now. The early edition guy, the lady from The Conjuring,
Vera Farmiga.
of course it's Vera. Everybody loves Vera. Vera loves her. And I was like, was she in the last movie? I know the little kid from Stranger Things was not. That was when she was born. But let's brush aside our cynicism, our discussion of franchises and cinematic universes and properties and all of that stuff. Let's just talk about the movies. Godzilla 2019, aka Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is sexist. Because we don't know Godzilla's gender.
Godzilla's a male.
Well, he could be gender fluid. No one can understand. I guess Vera Farmiga, she never asked him. That's true. She just wanted to get him calm down. She didn't ask him his preference. So I guess the movie takes place a handful of years later. Vera Farmiga, the guy from early edition, have two kids. Son, I guess, he gets stepped on by Godzilla. At some point he dies. So then that kind of tears their family apart. The father is politics, goes off to like learn the hunting habits of wolves. She's whatever.
Well, that's the thing is they took note from the last Godzilla movie, which had almost no Godzilla. And they said, let's have a lot of Godzilla movies, lots of monster fights, Mothra and Dan, Dora, tons of monster fights. Oh, but I guess we have to have a human element. So we have the most stock of family drama stuff that we've seen a billion times.
That yes, I will agree with you to a certain extent. The family drama felt very well in
which is funny because we say that exact same thing about the last Godzilla. This one, I think it's even more so. Because you have every Emmerich movie has the strange parent-child relationship.
Strange dad.
Yes, so this has that. You're like, oh. And then the movie never really does anything to flesh them out or make them much more interesting. Vera Farmiga the most, although she goes so far crazy at one point where, like, I think you even said, you're like, you better not be confused. Like, you know where it's going to go.
Well, that's the problem with Godzilla. Like, I'm not a big Godzilla fan. I don't think I've seen a Godzilla. I've seen pieces, except for the Bryan Cranston. But through osmosis in pop culture, I'm aware of Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan. Oh, sure. Godzilla, Monster Zero. I've lived on this planet. I've absorbed pop culture. I know what those things are. So going into it, watching it, everyone knows Godzilla, and so it's like they picked out the 3 or 4 big monsters that they wanted to highlight. They explained to us their dynamic, their social dynamic. Godzilla does not like Monster Zero. They're the 2 alphas that rival for control of the monsters. Mothra's the wild card. She kind of has a special bond with Godzilla. I got all that. They explained all that, and it was clear on who was fighting who. It wasn't like a Transformers movie where a
little too much murky rain and snow stuff, but yeah, you still get a sense of what's happening.
I found the movie very exciting up until maybe like halfway. That when they go to Antarctica, that whole sequence, I thought was neat.
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff first half that was great. And then it's like, okay, you know, you're balanced. You have 15 characters. You don't want to bog it down. Last one,
Yes.
too much exposition, too much drama, talking, blah, 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 blah. Just sprinkle it in, go out. And they had 4 or 5 set pieces. I thought the ending top, and that leads into the Dark Phoenix discussion, because I thought the Godzilla movie, I was like so sick of movies that overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
I love the something that can scale it down a bit.
Well, Godzilla. This gets a pass when it comes to that stuff, because that's Godzilla's whole thing. And like you mentioned, you get to understand the dynamics of all the monsters, and that's really, because the movie is directed by Michael Dougherty, our favorite Krampus.
Krampus is a masterpiece.
He cleared that trick or treat. He clearly likes monsters. You can tell that's what a lot of his attention to in this movie. The characters are almost like amplified. Because this does a really great job. They're not just mindless monsters that start stomping around. They all have like behavioral patterns and lots of detail and attention to that type of stuff. Just them acting out their general nature. They're not just big stupid monsters. Ghidorah has 3 heads, and they all have different minds, different personalities. They don't even make a line about that. You just kind of pick up on it.
Because like snap at the other.
Yeah. They like bicker with each other. You can tell like that's where all of the attention was. And I think all the battles are just the right amount of excessive, where they're not exhausting.
Right. It didn't get Man of Steel. My favorite part, I laughed out loud twice. First part was when the pilot ejects from the thing right with monster.
Well, that was the best part of the movie.
And like some joyful monster stuff. Also, I laughed out loud too. When there's the guy in the early scene when Mothra's the larva stage, and there's the guys with the guns, and there's this giant like fucking larva monster, like, and then they're like, ah. After the movie gets up, and that's when they're, stop it, you're scaring her. Bitch, are you for real? So that was, and then lastly, Boston, it looks like an atomic bomb dropped on it, and then early edition guy gets out of the car and he starts going, really? Yeah. Really?
There's 2 giant monsters fighting, barking fire at each other. But can you hear me?
Cacophony of noise, and destruction and fire and brimstone everywhere.
That's like I said. Every time they pan down the boat, like I understand what they're doing. You have the big action, but then you have the human drama.
It's not as laughable as that Man of Steel moment when the entire city's being blown up, and then they pan down, and the camera zooms in, and there's Lawrence Fishburne, and someone has their shoelace caught under a piece of concrete.
It's like a tiny half a set.
Come on. Yeah. It's like as big as the set. I mean, a VCR repair shop.
Well, speaking of CGI and zooming in, I mentioned that this movie does what has become my most hated cliche with these movies, which is when there's a shot that is clearly completely CGI and they do the snap zoom, try and make it look like documentary and real. I can guarantee they do it multiple times in Man of Steel. They do it in this. Stop it. It's so tired.
I want to say that they have been first used in the great film Star Wars Episode 2 Attack.
Oh, really?
That's 2002. I ain't never seen that before.
Yeah. It's all CG shot that tries to look like a snap zoom documentary.
War camera.
Yeah. But now every fucking movie does it, and it's so tired.
It feels a little dated.
That's the only thing when it comes to the big monster stuff. That was the only thing that stuck out to me. The rest of it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the last one. It was more than
Well, that movie, every time Godzilla starts to attack, they cut to like news footage. You see it on happening there. It's like, we're not going to show the monster battle. We're showing it on TV. This movie's like, fuck that. Like, this is what people came to see. I would imagine if you're a big fan of Godzilla, all the monsters and stuff, I can't imagine not being able to do it. satisfied with the amount of monster fights that are in this.
Well, and that's a good point because I don't sound hypocritical when you say when you know knock on the Transformers movies and you say, well, if you couldn't see the robots fight each other, forget. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but with those, you don't even get a coherent story. You don't know what the fuck's happening.
That's the thing that this movie accomplishes pretty well.
It's boring, cliche melodrama stuff, but at least I understood.
It's plug and play characters into your story. They didn't go crazy. They really could have. That little family unit, that real family was great. It was great and everything. But still a little underutilized. Millie, she was all right, except for I think they had a team of people give her that wet hair look.
Oh, it's the right way.
Strands this way. And another thing to note, the way Transformers scripts, you have those obnoxious stereotype characters. You have those really over the top, weird characters.
I feel like they're out of like a Wayne Brothers comedies in the 90s.
So yeah, this movie ignored all of that. Even that, like, who's that actor, that guy with the glasses and he's got the white hair?
Oh, Bradley Whitford. Yeah, he was the dad in Get Out. He's been yes. He was on one of those shows.
He's got that. He's like that.
He's kind of smart ass. He teeters on going, but they never go too far.
He's like he is a cup. He works for Monarch, and it's like a Monarch mug, and it's not yours on it.
Yeah.
So he's a nerd. He's a technical guy. He does his own, plays by his own rules. That character, he doesn't follow orders. He's a genius type, but he doesn't get yeah. And then the other character, they're spread into two, is that guy, the Asian lady, says something that and then she's a gun.
Oh,
I will. That's the worst of gun.
Yeah, it's very good.
Really, I prefer comic relief in the form of a fighter pilot projects into the mouth of the monster. I prefer that.
And that's the type of stuff that's in, like I said, that's the best moment in this movie because it's silly, but it's not like distracting or obnoxious or takes you out of the movie. Kong Skull Island, which I like much more than this. That whole movie is stuff like that. Really kind of like inventive, colorful set pieces. A lot of it's during the day, so you can see what's happening. Like this movie, there's so much rain all the time. I was annoyed by that.
You want to take it as it is. It's a Godzilla movie about monsters with some boilerplate human plotting that is necessary.
Wow, I made the decision or mistake because in retrospect, it made this movie much worse. Right after watching this, for comparison's sake, I watched Shin Godzilla 2016, Japanese release. There had been a Godzilla movie in like a decade or something. That's a movie that has very little Godzilla, but it also has no protagonist, and it's being great. It's very tactical and logical, where it's like it's a complete reboot. It's like if Godzilla showed up today, how would it work? Like okay, giant monster just showed up on shore. What do we do? So we have scenes with like the military, we have scenes with the government, we have scenes with scientists. And it's all, like everybody trying to work together, but there's all this like political red tape, so it's taking way longer than it should. And that's the whole movie. It's fucking awesome. I think as like a Star Trek fan, like a TNG fan, you would actually like it. Because it's very. I didn't rewatch your Godzilla review 2014. I would love to see a movie with some scientists trying to figure out what to do. And that's the movie.
I like the good pursuit.
That's what it is.
A big studio here is not going to take that chance without the lovey-dovey parents and kids and the stupid plot like that. Because Godzilla was not made by Americans. Godzilla, and it does not translate all that great.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla is what, like from the 50s? It's like
the whole movie's about the fear of like nuclear fallout.
It's
the atomic age.
It's the collective horror of the Japanese from being nuked in World War II, and it's like ingrained in some culture, and that's kind of what it sprung from. And so it's like something that us as Americans don't quite get. So we want to see the Michael Bay kind of punch each other.
Look, Vera Farmiga wants to bring these monsters back to destroy cities and kill a bunch of people to redeem the death of her son.
I would have been okay if, like, you know, she was just good-hearted scientist and captured monsters and then an insane asylum bus crashes near the compound and we're missing one patient, Mr. Aberdeen Dumbledore. He's super bonkers, everyone. We gotta find him. Hey, what's this button do? Oh no, Aberdeen Dumbledore! You unleashed all the monsters! There's your quote. Basically, what I'm saying is happenstance, accident, technological failure versus bonkers villain political agenda or you know whatever agenda. I'm just gonna switch those components around. Whatever gets the monster right. The worst summer season for movies is officially underway. And adding to the pile is the fully reviewed Dark Phoenix. The third or fourth time the tale of Jean Grey going bonkers has been told. Throwing some themes of us versus them, family, teacher, student, love, hate, revenge, and you've got drama to the nth degree, complete with a blue ace. What movie could use more blue ace? X-Men Dark Phoenix is the best-looking TV show to ever play in the movie theaters.
That was exactly what I was going to say about this movie, is that it feels like a two-parter TV show.
Our Doom Company.
Are we sponsored by them? What is happening?
Absolutely. It's just a beer I like. It's refreshing.
Oh.
And delicious.
And it has 27% alcohol.
Well, Jay, what did you think of X-Men Dark Phoenix?
Well, like you mentioned, it kind of feels like a TV show. The script feels like an okay first draft that they didn't flesh out or make better. Like you had mentioned that you kind of hinted at it with the Godzilla discussion, but you like that it feels a little more small scale. I do to a certain extent, but with this particular story, where it hinges on the idea that Jean Grey is now the Phoenix, she's turning evil, and this may turn all of normal people against mutants, the movie doesn't really do anything to display that. She doesn't do anything particularly evil. She kills, spoilers, she kills one of the X-Men, the worst X-Men in this franchise, Jennifer Lawrence. Aside from that, like if you're gonna really make that like a big threat, like oh fuck, man, turn on us again, so we got people to like us. She needs to kill like a stadium of people or something. Like you need to have something big happen, and the movie never really goes there.
I love this movie. Oh my god. I thought it was the best X movie I've seen since X2. I'm not.
You are seriously?
I
Some people are saying it's the worst X-Men movie. It definitely is. This doesn't have any "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch" moments.
Don't you know I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Oh god, there's so many other worse ones.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Let me add some more. Okay, so there's X2 Logan, which is more of a real movie.
Yes.
And then everything else, and then maybe Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
So, I mean,
the bad ones you've liked because they're just complete garbage.
Well,
like X-Men Origins Wolverine and Apocalypse.
Well, Apocalypse was schlock, and see, I enjoy schlock. This one was just, there was something different about it, and I liked how it was just kind of very simple, because it starts off with, kind of things have settled. And that's the real problem with this whole expectation. All the way back to 1999, 2000, the first one?
99,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's just like, all over the place. Yeah, X-Men 1 and into Bryan Singer movies. You had your cast, great cast.
Yes.
X2 was their first X-Men. And then Bryan Singer leaves to go direct Superman Returns and says, I want to do something. Give it to
that other sex pervert.
the other sex pervert. Right. And then it's like, and then, oh God. Then let's start making origin movies. And oh God, let's reboot the whole thing. Let's go back to the past.
Yeah, those franchises are all over the place.
And it's like, okay, and spoilers, spoilers. Mystique dies.
Although I don't think it's ever been established that it's a separate, like splintered off time.
It has.
But now Mystique dies.
Oh wait, no, it has.
I can't keep track of this shit.
Listen, at the end of Days of Future Past, Logan, Wolverine, returns to present day. You see all those characters again. Like, what?
But they've altered the future, right? Because at the beginning of the movie, it's like a dystopia. So it's like that's not the same timeline in the future for these movies.
It's possible we have a Kelvin and Prime situation. Although I'm not sure.
But they're still technically the same characters, and this movie takes place in the early 90s, just a couple of years before the first X-Men movie. So I don't know how Michael Fassbender looks like Ian McKellen in the course of like 6 years.
There were a lot of cookies.
Here with the kids at home.
Speaking of inconsistencies, even in this timeline, things don't make sense because I only saw Apocalypse once. We saw it in the theater. And I had a vague memory of something happening at the end, but I had to double check after watching this movie, which is at the end of that movie, to defeat Apocalypse, James McAvoy tells Jean Grey, like, unleash it, unleash it. She unleashes the Phoenix in that movie, which takes place before this movie, where she gets the Phoenix in this movie. What happened? They just completely ignored the ending of the last movie in this movie.
X-Men 3, it was Jean Grey in the Singer era. X-Men movies,
Pervert era? Can we call that the pervert timeline?
She was able to do telekinesis and do some things, but Professor X kept her mind in check by building firewall safeguards in her brain. So X-Men 3, and I'm crazy. I'm loose. It turns Patrick Stewart to dust. And then goes bonkers, and it's only Wolverine, his healing ability, that allows him to get close enough, stab her.
Yeah.
That's that Dark Phoenix. This Dark Phoenix is space entity, which is more accurate to chronicles.
I don't care about accuracy in the comic books. I care about consistency of story.
Well, no. If you care about consistency of story, the story contained within this little film called Dark Phoenix is consistent.
But this movie doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists in a part of the franchise.
They fucked up the whole prequel backstory soft reboot of the X-Men from the get-go.
This whole franchise is a mess. It's probably good that it's done.
You could tell. They're doing their best. McAvoy, Fassbender.
Well, that's
quality. The only one who's really showing her disdain for being there is Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
Matching costumes and smile pictures.
That
We
is
can
the
do
main
that.
question. That is the main question.
Well, that's the whole Mystique character originally. The idea is that she looks the way she does. She can transform into a normal human, but she doesn't. I hear she's constantly Jennifer Lawrence because she didn't want to put on blue makeup.
She looks miserable.
Yeah.
To the point, early on, some of the early scenes, I thought that was either a stand-in, it looked like her, close enough to wear the makeup, and then they ADR her voice, or it was a CG fix.
That's her attitude the whole movie.
Yeah,
She's talking to like Xavier, completely mean to
It's all she's sick of doing this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's actually applicated.
yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. To be fair to her, like when she did that first one, first class, she was like nobody, and then she kind of blew up. And now she's like a pretty big name actress. She's like, oh fuck, I gotta wear this blue shit again.
No pun intended.
Are you sure about that?
But and if we're looking at this movie in a vacuum, I didn't really like what they did with Xavier. Because that opening scene establishing Jean Grey, little kid, brings her in the front, she's using her powers to change the radio station, causes a car crash, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is establishing that the Phoenix has always been with her. She's always had this dark side. And that's what Xavier's trying to repress. But I guess he's just repressing a traumatic experience that a normal person would have. It just seemed very odd.
Xavier got chef.
Yes.
I'll explain why. Because everyone was yelling at him.
Sure, so we can look at the We're taking the paper.
He did nothing wrong.
He's the only one keeping the shit together. And Jennifer Lawrence is like the men never, the women always have to save the men. Like he's in a fucking wheelchair to save all these people. What are you talking about?
He's doing his best to, like, that's what I love that opening scene. The rescue the astronauts.
That was very X-Men.
It's like,
I like that scene.
calling the X-Men, it's the president.
Yeah.
And then you have the sequence of the Nightcrawlers jump in and back to the astronauts and rescue everybody. It's like, yeah, this is fun. And that's
Everyone's using their powers for specific uses.
right. That's good stuff. That's what they were. That was always the it's the message of Xavier, fuck yourself. And Xavier has basically kind of achieved his dream of running a school, working alongside human beings, and then Jean Grey gets infected with the violent space alien, and everyone blames him for not being able to control her and for also having the gall to control her.
Yes.
And he's like, I was like, just shout from the hilltops, James McAvoy, she's got a fucking space alien in her. I have nothing to do with this. Everybody, there's an evil space creature in her. I guess they got a little. No, she's fine. Everything was fine until space alien.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's why, like, the idea of, I mean, I know it wouldn't be true with the comics, but, like, that opening scene, I thought was hinting that she's always had this darker side, and that's what Xavier's trying to repress. The fact that that's not the case makes Xavier look like a dick for just repressing the fact that her dad stole a lens.
it's a little muddled.
It's very muddled. So and that's the entire premise of the movie, so that's a problem.
I thought, in terms of telling a smaller scale story that felt like television. I mean, TV shows look like they have bigger budgets. I enjoyed that. Someday we're going to get Marvel level X-Men battles. And
We will. I'm saying,
right. That's why it was
there's a lot of things in this, like I mentioned, I think in this particular story, you have one kind of larger scale event that happened.
I guess, yeah. If you're looking at it from a story,
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at it from a
This movie's not exhausting.
yes, from kind of like a simpler story.
Yeah. When they're all fighting in front of Jean Grey's dad's house, that's great. Yeah, I like that little sequence.
All these X-Men movies always feel a little bit reserved in terms of going too far over the top.
Yeah. Well, and they never the villain of the week route that all these other big comic book movies do. It's always just about the kind of conflict between Xavier and Magneto.
I like Magneto in this probably more than any other movie. I just loved his angle. I loved that Beast went rogue. It had a lot of darkness in it, and kind of the end of an era, which it is, because Mystique was wanting to leave, or questioning whether all the fame and stuff was appealing to Xavier's vanity, or if he really was still trying to achieve his dream.
Which I was weird too, because I was like, I don't think there was anything in any other movies that hints than anything like that. That kind of came out of nowhere.
But that's where Mystique's character is.
Yeah.
She's not a soldier. She's not a Cyclops. She's just a follows orders.
Right.
She's more of a Romeo character, which is actually a best
Yeah.
and so all those elements are in play. I thought it was very serviceable and enjoyable.
I enjoyed the train action scene at the end because it was just on the train. If you know, the entire thing was reshot. So I think maybe the original idea is they were supposed to go up into space with Jessica Chastain and her group aliens, whatever those guys are, and then she turns into Laser Lady and saves the day. I don't know for sure, but I know that entire thing was a reshoot. And it's the most exciting part of the movie.
I guess we don't talk about the dreadlock guy.
Oh,
Kind of a freaky character. Yeah, it's mutant powers. Dreadlock.
yes, Dreadlock's the version, I guess.
I'll pick a couple of little
All the bad guys in this movie, Jessica Chastain and all of the henchmen, they were
weird aliens. Yeah. And that was a budgetary thing. It's like, no, that it looks like people. They should have been aliens. Yeah. They should have looked like
And like I said, the entire ending was reshoot, so maybe the original ending was
more drawn to this. It was all reshot, and they were actors wearing like those dock suits.
the motion capture.
Yeah. There's a big spandex on with like mocap dots and like things like a eye, and they said they tried to pass it off as their alien uniforms.
There's like one off-campus EDR line that mentions that.
They certainly have weird alien costumes. But as far as the set piece was the Magneto subway style on the ground.
Oh yeah, I think it's Ghostbusters because it's in New York, like the ground breaks open. But it, like you mentioned, feels like a TV show. That whole scene, it is in New York, but it's just on like this tiny street set. It's very small scale. And I was fine with that. I was fine with it taking place just on a train.
I still someday I hope to see the full extent of Professor Xavier's powers. But during that whole battle, all we do is concentrate on one character at a time and sort of distract them momentarily.
Yeah.
Really, it's just stop everyone from moving or make them all kill themselves. You know what I mean? He has the ability to do much greater things, but he doesn't.
So that's a storytelling problem where you're like, well, then we don't have to move people.
It is.
That's why they got Captain Marvel out of Avengers Endgame for most of it. So you're all powerful, so you tell all these people just fly through and kill everybody in a second. You gotta go do something on another planet.
I like this movie.
Okay.
I don't hate it. I don't think it wasn't schlock bad. Like,
No.
I enjoyed it.
I think that it was very bland.
It felt a little dated, maybe 10, 15 years old. It felt kind of like that Fantastic Four movie with Jessica Alba.
Oh, this was much better than that.
No.
He's talking about
Production.
Oh, okay.
Where there's a little set piece
Yeah.
on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, yeah.
It's a double problem. It's not a Marvel movie.
No.
It's not a Russo brothers.
It's fine. The stuff I liked in this movie was when it was just like the X-Men working as a team. You know, it's like the opening scene in space, the stuff on the train was fun. The Nightcrawler just like goes fucking crazy and starts murdering people. Like, I was fine with all that. A lot of the connecting stuff and like the way they treat the Xavier character.
Well, they threw Xavier in the middle.
Yes.
More or less, so that they could cross their fingers and hope. Because they set it up for potential sequel territory because they renamed the school like Gray. It's a Gray school for different youngsters. So they take off Xavier's name. He quit or failing to leave to support that.
Yeah.
And this is and then Beast before it took over as with the giant picture of the dead ones and then just staring.
The giant emotional still. Yeah.
Ah! No, well, there. Yeah. But, so there's that. But, you know, best member, top notch. What's his face? McAvoy's always good. Everybody's good. You know, the urgency of this property is so fast. You cannot do this Dark Phoenix shit. I mean, at least not for 24 years.
Well, this is the second time they've done it.
You did Apocalypse.
I feel like I know the Logan movie, like that was the Wolverine movie, but that to me kind of felt like the end of this whole era of it. And then we also have this movie with big fight and train at the end. This almost feels like a half. I'm still waiting for us to get another X-Men Origins movie.
This thing was over Tatum, Channing Tatum.
Oh, Camden. I think that's the one. It's all everything in the world is a monopoly where every every property. People are excited because now the X-Men can be in a Marvel movie.
I heard just a couple days ago, Disney also has
Oh. I'm like, sounds like you would recommend
Dark Phoenix. I love it.
It's okay. You know what? We don't have movies anymore that are just okay. Where it's like okay for a movie to be okay. Talk about like, oh, I watched this movie, it was in cable the other day, it was okay. I enjoyed watching stuff. Every movie is fucking amazing. And both of these movies are okay-ish.
They did their job. Godzilla was a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Godzilla fought all the monsters, given Scott Grant and fought it.
Yeah.
It was serviceable. It provided what it promised. It didn't annoy you. It wasn't obnoxious. And didn't make you my hopes.
And there was caretakers of the monsters.
Yes. And X-Men, got to see the X-Men doing their thing. Doing great. Dark Phoenix storyline. Magneto was in it. Magneto. Fantasy sex ops fight Magneto. I'm a sucker for X-Men stuff. Now, earlier in the show, I was a little upset about us not getting an invite to the soft open.
Oh, sure.
The VCR Hall of Fame. And I just want to say, nobody told me to apologize for my outburst about it. Really fun. I was VCR Hall of Fame opening. I just want to make it clear, nobody told me from Legend Fest VCR Corporate that I have to apologize for that. But, you know, I was just impassioned. And anger is impassioned. Because you and I are forefront VCR there. And, you know, they invite us, and I wasn't asked by anyone to apologize. But, you know, when that comes to me, I'm not going. Let me do it. Fucking say.
And I know this is an apology for the outburst earlier. This is an apology, but we were right. So it's not really an apology.
Legend Fest was
Any couple to it's a taste. Trusted by chefs for generations, piece makes it pieces every time. You don't need to be a chef to master that mistake. With Patak's spice case, anyone can cook like a curry house.
consequences occur.
Yep, we were all caught up with all the big summer blockbuster movies that we didn't see in theaters.
Right, Jay.
And I definitely don't feel like it was a waste of 10 hours of our lives.
Is that sarcasm?
I can't wait to watch the extended cut of Jurassic World again. There's one thing I want. It's more of that.
Anywho,
We watched real movies. We watched the good ones.
we watched 3 big summer blockbusters when the blockbuster is almost as extinct as dinosaurs themselves. And it's interesting because the 3 blockbuster films we chose to discuss go from it's the good, bad, and the ugly. Go from great to okay to terrible. Almost terrible. Our opinions might differ a little, Jay, but that's where I'm starting this discussion with him.
So, okay, we're starting with the good or the ugly.
I guess we'll start with the ugly. I don't know if anyone even shares the good or the opinions of the that's more me, so we get that one out of the way.
Okay.
Right out of the gate, real fast. The Asylum presents Fantasy Dinosaur Force from Colin Neversmile Trevorrow, the director of the Book of Henry. He's back with another Jurassic World film. This time, Owen Thunderguns and his subjugated lady friends must find their daughter, 11, who they hide in a cabin in the woods because she's a human clone who was reproduced asexually in a lab by her mother who died of colon cancer. However, Owen and subjugated lady friend can't just sit still in that cabin and get real jobs. They've got to go on dino-saving adventures to show that they care about dinos. Oh, and dinosaurs are all over the planet. But people still go out living their lives, going to drive-in movie theaters and walking around in the park where dinos can eat them. Did I mention that? The fact that dinos are all over the planet brings out the best and the worst in people. However, old friends Dr. Ellie Sattler, Dr. Alan Grant, and Dr. Jeff Goldblum are on a separate mission to find out why Hank Scorpio and the Globex Corporation have created giant locusts that terrorize children. Would you like to hear the IMDb description? Sure. 4 years after the destruction of Isla Nublar, Biosin operatives attempt to track down Maisie Lockwood while Dr. Ellie Sattler investigates a genetically engineered swarm of giant insects. Not a one-time mention of a dinosaur in the IMDb description.
Well, that's pretty appropriate. Because this isn't a movie about dinosaurs. It's a movie about locusts. Right there. At the end of the second movie in the franchise called Jurassic World, established that the dinosaurs are loose now. Stupid clone girl let them loose because they're real, like her.
Oh, that's right. That's how that one ended.
That was the line. It's the dumbest ending to one of the dumbest movies that's ever been made. And so, like, finally, now the next movie, we're finally going to get fucking dinosaurs rampaging cities, causing havoc all over the world. We get like an Instagram news update at the very beginning.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's some dinosaurs here. Anyway, locusts.
There was one scene where take a T-Rex page through drive-in movie theater.
Which isn't in the theatrical cut.
Really?
You watched the extended cut on Peacock. You watched the theatrical cut, which has even less dinosaurs.
There have never been more dinosaurs than there are in Dominion and in
Okay. That whole opening of the extended cut where we see 65 million years ago, the dinosaurs fighting, we see them sit over the and then that goes into the movie theater scene. No, that's in the theatrical cut.
You see dinosaurs in the snow. You see dinosaurs in cities.
How does it open?
It opens with the Instagram story or whatever it is. Now this opens with that. Actually, no, I think there's very briefly, there's the bit where they're trying to ruin dinosaur with the water and it has some shows. I think it shows that. Yeah. Very few moments dinosaurs actually wreaking havoc somewhere.
Wow, that's surprising.
But you don't have time for dinosaurs.
She's
No
not
dinosaurs.
letting them with her there have never been more dinosaurs. And there are any, like, not dinosaurs in this movie.
There was the two movies in one, like the one Thunder Guns and Bryce Dallas Howard stuff, and then and the pilot from Halo. And yes,
You know, what's his name?
we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, and Maisie Lockwood, there's some biblical things.
Well, Tom Travis, that's a smart movie. It's great.
She is like Messiah because she contains genes that could possibly save the world. She's the new Jesus. And
I think that's the frustrating thing about Colin Trevorrow is he does have ideas. Like that first Jurassic World movie, there's a whole meta thing about origin story.
Yeah.
It's great. And it's like, okay, trying for something. The rest of everything that's happening is dumb as shit.
there are some like possibly kernels of good ideas in this. Like, you know, who shows their true colors of being good human beings. Which is like real, right? There are these people trying to make money that one Thunder Guns runs into something. He's taking a Brontosaurus or whatever, and he's like, how much was done with dinosaur bones? That market. $500,000, $1 million, $500 billion trillion. And so he lets it go.
I'm smiling because that's also not the theatrical cut.
Really?
That whole sequence, you see him round up the dinosaur. Let's get back on the back of the cabin.
No shit.
Another part that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That maybe have like these dinosaur poachers.
Right.
Well, I'll go and make one later.
I wonder where to cut it out because there's like, Owen has a couple of like park ranger guys with him, like two, I think. And then the bad guy, like bad cowboy guys, have like 6 or 7 guys with horses and they all shotgun. And the two like wildlife guys are like just super pistols. And so like Owen has to like say, I don't give a shit out with these guys. Slaughter. So he lets the dinosaur go, lets the dinosaur. And it's kind of sad. They take the dinosaur and they cart it off and it just kind of goes along with them and you know it's going to get killed and stripped of all of its meat and
You get cockfight, as we see later.
yes, fighting cockfighting.
Which is part of the maybe 15-20 minute stretch of the movie that I kind of enjoyed.
Yeah, when they go to Malta,
Yeah. It turns into a Mission Impossible movie.
they start to do
Dinosaurs.
Then you got the Biosyn guy, the Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, kind of. He's like the most apathetic, lame, boring villain ever.
Well, did you even catch who that was?
Dodson! Dodson! We've got Dodson here!
It's a returning character.
Right?
Remember Dodson from the beginning of the first Jurassic Park? And it's Wayne Knight. There's Wayne Knight the Barbasol.
Yeah.
That's that character. They inexplicably decided to bring him back. The second time part of that first movie has nothing to do with anything. Other than giving him the Barbasol.
But not that actor.
Not that actor, which is like, if you can't get the actor, why do it at all?
Well, you know what happened with the actor?
Oh, that's right. He's like he's one of those heard so much about in Hollywood. There's no reason for that character to be that character from the first movie.
Oh gosh.
Now he's basically Tim Cook from Apple. Their whole facility, it's like this round building that looks just like the Apple headquarters. Watching it there.
Sure. Well, I guess a kind of commentary on the big tech geneticists that either want to profit from pharmaceutical research or very sophisticated scientific laboratory, which I'm sure they are. Computers did have beakers filled with fluid or maybe blue wrapped into brown sponge.
It's a science.
Yeah, a beaker with blue, green, red fluids and beakers on tables, just open, no tops on it, just sitting there, waiting to get smashed in the head.
exciting sequence.
The Locust prehistoric DNA has made them stronger than they should be. They're multiplying like crazy, and they're not dying. How realistic you can see. I do understand. This is going to be a global thing. Hey, we can't anticipate everything. We need to eradicate the ones we release. Right. All of them.
His plan with the locusts was what? Again?
What's on the tip? Shall we have a run of the world now? So there's football. Wonderful.
And it's changed quite a lot in the last. All the worlds of the Cadian Gate, with the latest Warhammer 40k narrative supplement, Reign of Iron. But the area surrounding Cadia has changed quite a lot in the last few years. And while Abaddon and the Black Legion have moved on, one other power has designs on the former nexus of the Great. Hey look, I've got merch now. Have a look below or stay tuned at the end to find out more. So, all is back as it should be. The Eye of Terror has once more become a major war zone in the 40k galaxy. However, the prime version I record these from is currently in a state of deconstruction. So I'm doing this video with voice only if you want to know I've seen it. Anyway, after a few years where the action has gone everywhere else in the galaxy, we return to the good old Eye of Terror with Reign of Iron, a campaign supplement for Warhammer 40k as Iron Warriors use the opportunity offered by the Spell of the Great Rift to usurp the Black Legion and start their own plans for galactic domination. The Eye of Terror was a blight on the 40k galaxy for 10,000 years, the exiled home of the traitor legions and a massive area of warp space overlap that plagued the northern period. Originally the heartland of the ancient Eldari, the Eye was created when the excesses of that species resulted in the birth of Chaos Power Sludge, an event so violent that it killed most of the Eldar and got control of real space where their whole empire used to be. The Eye was the largest continuous warp storm in the galaxy, an area where the materium and the immaterial mixed, where time passed differently, and where twisted installations and haunted planets were as common as eagles. In fact, it would have spread further were it not for a ring of black stone construction built millions of years ago that surrounded the old Elf homeland. As it was, these constructions stopped the rift from growing and also made it extremely difficult to enter or exit the Arsenal heresy that was here that the traitor legions had built. The only place they could be spared the retribution of the Imperium, and over time it's here. Inside the Eye, the traitor legions warred and eventually started to unite under the leadership of Abaddon the Despoiler, with regular raids escaping the Eye, which slowly escalated into the Despoiler's 12 Black Crusades. Invasions of real space on a grander scale, which passed through the only navigable route of the Eye, the corridor space known as the Cadian Gate, named for the planet Cadia that stood at its center. Over the years, Cadia had been fortified with fortress world, a major bastion against chaos incursion, and the first line of defense against raiders from the Eye. But this all ended during the Despoiler's 13th Black Crusade, when it became clear that the previous 12 were not just raids, but missions to destroy those blackstone pylons that held the Iron Check, or to weaken the veil between worlds elsewhere across the galaxy. With the closing moves of the 13th Crusade, Abaddon slammed an ancient blackstone fortress into Cadia, destroying its own pylons and cracking the crust, and as the proud defenders of Cadia fled to orbit, the Eye, free of its bounds, spread across the galaxy, joining up those weakened areas and creating the Great Rift, a galaxy-wide warp storm that separated Imperial Senatus and the Lost World, Imperium. This, of course, is all well known. These are events that played out years ago, but the Eye was still there, just part of the Great Rift. and its expansion had changed the Cadian Gate forever. After the fall of Cadia, the zone had become a chaotic and ongoing battle. The former corridor of the Cadian Gate was now swimming in warp energy, pressed on all sides by storms, and the remains of Cadia itself, Cadian Mortis, were soaked in the stuff of the warp, being drawn in and out of the eye of the quick travelling stars. Hive and its fleet didn't hang around after the destruction of the world, they moved on, consolidate their gains and continue the campaign, only leaving a small force on the planet, but other warbands followed in their wake, attacking worlds around the edge of the old sector, worlds that were previously behind the planet. Gracian Polaris, or the forge world of Agrippina, became frontline wars. And despite the piecemeal nature of the raids, with independent fleets from the Night Lords, Thousand Sons, and Death Guard leading the area, the Imperium was like losing battle. Segmentum command was begun as loyalist view of nations and hunters. It was crisis warfare. Loyalist forces stranded in the zone either hunkered down on whatever planet they could, or formed into mobile strike force, attempting to find any target of opportunity. However, there was a little structure. Contingency plans formed long before were opened across the city. Militarum commanders, inquisitors, and even sometimes Arbites judges, opening ancient scrolls on a score of worlds, and reacting with commendable swiftness to transform a network of planets into hold paths for the retreating Cadian forces. Islands in the swirling warp storms that used to be the Cadian Gate. A second line of defense that survivors flew to, and all of them stepped up recruitment for the foundation of new Neo-Cadian regiment. There was no overall plan or strategy on either side, and this was something the Lord of the Fourth Legion would take advantage of. Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors, was not an active participant in Abaddon's plans, but he was willing to use them as the springboard for his own. On his demon world of Metrongard, deep in the Eye, he had brooded for millennia. He had distanced himself from his legion, contemptuous of all mortal beings, including his own sons, to plot future conquests, surrounded by screens and data feeds, a million plans disregarded as imperfect. But as the rift widened, he was stirred into a load of activity. Perturabo had come to see the Imperium as a massive galactic fortress that needed breaching, and the fall of Cadia was to be the first hole in the wall. The breach would need careful widening, but with exploitation it had formed the core of the plan for what he called the Infinite Citadel, a galaxy-wide network of colossal walls, barriers, fortresses, and barbicans made from planets, moons, and space stations, spreading out from the segmental Obscurus to the delicate galaxy. And the first plot to go here in what used to be Death. Soon after the fall of Cadia, Perturabo's legion struck the Cadia. For millennia, they gathered intelligence on the Imperium, through active slaves taken back to Metrongard, alliances with Alpha Legion warbands, and pacts with demonic entities, particularly with Bashkor the Archangel. And they'd learned the disposition of Imperial forces in the area, and so their fleets moved as one, a web of assaults against the ruling Imperium near the traitor legions of the world. The opening moves of this appeared initially as piecemeal raids, assaulting the many fallback positions that eventually Cadia retreated to, but these tests of the line soon escalated into campaigns of conquest. Warsmith Saga, commander of the Arch Herald of Misery, spread from the Eye as far as the Red Star, driving destruction ridden by Hive fleet Leviathan. Warsmith Balduran, allied with renegade chapters, carved out Copper People, Adrian Trinity, and the Galactic Core, striking the borders of the Great Florian League. Other warsmiths, following their Primarch's orders, descended on the Sanctus Wall, Trinchera, the Sentinel workers in Ballast Colony. But the linchpin, the first steps in the Infinite Citadel, would be the Forge world of Agrippina. For centuries, the output of Agrippina, along with Forge world of Contrial, was dedicated to the defense of Cadia. Respected for its size and its productivity, its hunger had stripped its home system bare. Worlds turned to barren rock and Hive from its slowly starved population, increased its demand for service of the poor. Aimed to the size of its Skitarii armies and its vast air alliances, the Magi of Agrippina had long since weathered assaults from the Eye, but during the spread of the rift, its forces were stretched thin, combating the assault by the Dark Magi and Demon Legions of Terraforge and forward. But they were reinforced by Cadian regiments falling back from the destruction of our world, and shepherding millions of refugees ahead of them, provided either a thrilling boost in Forge World's productivity, or for those who didn't want to labour for their new masters, a handy source of new service. Anyway, Waaaaar needed it taken for the Infinite Citadel. That task was given to the Warsmith of the 17th Criminal Company. Morn was an utterly personable commander known as the Architect of Ruin, with skill in razing fortresses to the ground. Blunt, inching, Morn was ruthlessly direct and willing to sacrifice any numbers to fires of attrition to drive his armies home. And he was no stranger to the Forge World, having led numerous raids against it before, some of which had ended in defeat, so he was eager for revenge. He was granted vast armies to complete this task. Morn's own 17th Grand Company, supported by two other Grand Companies, reinforced lighthouses, concentrated militia, maniples from Furians, Mortis and Voltaren, and also supernatural aid. But before he descended on Agrippina, there were some stops he needed to make upon the way. India had been left to fractured ground, and as Adam moved on, he had left the ruins of the chaos of that region warlord, Gordax Wat, who led a small force of legionaries who named themselves the Grave Brothers in honour of their new task. Quarry the not to lift from the Count's trust, and to create warp-infused weaponry. The intelligence of the North slowly turned on even more, but that wasn't Bertorado. Symbol of Cadia still gave resolve to the Imperium, so his plan was to co-opt it, to remake it in the image of Medringar as a linchpin of the Infinite Citadel, now back together in one. When Quan hailed the colossal Iron Warriors fleet inbound from the Eye, he was answered only with orbital bombardment as Morn's purge of Cadia began. His entire fleet made planetfall as the Black Legion scrambled to resist. A third of the landing craft were shot from the skies or torn apart by Quan's Eldrakes, and there was no way the small garrison force could resist. From his floating citadel, the React, Quan's astropaths were roaring of betrayal into the warp, and his sorcerers used their most potent devices to raise the warp storm, attempting to delay the assault and pin down the Iron Warriors. But Morn, mimicking his counterpart, had gleaned dark intelligence before his attack and had played out a simulation of the many different responses Quan would make. Weeks before the open assault, an earlier wave of ships operating under the cover of the Cadian storms had been thrown, powered down, on the route to the corrupted planet, their occupants sealed in the airless void of dead hulls, their routes backlighted by warp-powered differences. As Quan moved closer to the landers, these ambushers revealed themselves, squads of Havocs and Vipers appearing behind the Black Legion's lines, massacring the defenders. As Quan had prepared to journey down from his floating citadel, Morn's own ships hove into view, and Morn and his bodyguard, the Adamant Eternals, were reckless to their assault. Some of those Eternals were crushed by the hasty warp translation, many were killed by Quan's sorcerers, but then Pravek Morn crushed the Black Legion warlord's head in with his hand. Last and leaving a contingency force behind to root out further Black Legionnaires and begin Bertorado's plans, the Warsmith moved on to a Tauros Tertium was a fortress planet within the Tauros system, an isolated outpost in the mouth of the old Cadian Gate, and one where the ruler, the governor militant Margraval Osman, had followed his emergency orders to the letter. It had become a major Neo-Cadian stronghold, reinforced by Cadian regiments falling back from the disruption, and it quickly became strong enough to weather the various Chaos fleets that chanced an attack on it as they passed into the Imperium. So significant was it that when the vast Iron Warriors fleet was sighted, the planet had been blessed with the deployment of the Cadian Ape, under their famed war hero Ursula III. Unlike Imperial, Traybeck Horn's assault here employed no great sneaky stratagem. He drove his fleet through the Imperial defenders like secondary forces descending to other planets in the system, or conducting orderly assaults on order from base platforms, burning on the enemy, and the landing fields were quickly established. Over the next few weeks, the three ground companies, supported by waves of traitor armor, established sieges of the Fortress World's three main citadels, Gauntlet, Grave Haven, and the massive Tower of Detestation. The Taurus Tertium was vastly better defended than the Avior theme, and under the command of Ursula III, the fortresses managed to hold out. The Cadian 8th, sallying out to wipe traitor guard regiments from the planet. The three warsmiths of the three ground companies drew up their siege lines and commenced their bombardment, but it was only at the Tower of Detestation that Morn himself forced the breach. Great siege hammers rumbling into position as traitor Titans landed and fought the walls. However, as his strike force crossed the walls, receiving reports that the Imperials had been reinforced, Astartes and his transports and gunships raided the siege lines with Imperial fists. The strike force of unauthorized thunder active across the regions of the Core, and now aided by the small Black Templars crusade of Catherine's Island, pushed their way into the citadel and cleared a large number of armoured citizens. The defenders rallied and began to push back, and while Morn's initial thought was to continue his assault, still vastly outnumbered defenders, the timeline placed upon him by his Primarch was unforgiving. The purpose of the assault by Taurus Tertium was to pin the local defenders in place, ready for the siege to be reinforced by supporting Iron Warriors assets deployed to the Eye, and that had been done. The fortresses of the world had been besieged, the defenders, and now the reinforcements, were trapped within its lines, and two potent strike groups of Astartes were now bogged down on the surface. With the siege of Taurus now properly invested, command of the ongoing assault was delegated to the Warsaw Authority 8th Ground Company, and Morn held his 17th into order 2 years ago. The next stage, the penultimate stage, Traybeck Morn's rampage, was the most delicate. To lay siege to a Forge world as powerful and hungry as Agrippina, its overstretched supply routes. The few war routes the Forge world relied upon had passed through the nearby Oleandros, Trove, and Vendor. These needed to be taken, and the war routes that passed through them roused anger to block further reinforcement. As the 17th prepared in north, the clockwork plans of Perturabo played out for his own, and Morn was joined by the 13th and 27th fresh from their own Chinchilla and Alice Coroner, with an influx of conscripted guardsmen and war machines. However, Perturabo and Morn were not the only ones. As Agrippina had weathered the storm of the West, dispatching numerous battle groups to the aid of Imperial holdouts in the region, its forces at home had dwindled. Its master, the fabricator general Macfarlane No, had fallen silent. Her broadcast had been answered by a number of fleets, survivors of Battlefield Explorers, Iron Hands warships under the command of Iron Father Macfarlane, but most prominently, a massive explorator fleet dispatched from Mars under the command of the Archmagus Turnus. Old and acquired the famed Ordo Reductor was an infamous Martian war commander who had, over the years, completely dedicated herself to the extermination of enemies beyond the zone. Her growing augmentations entirely focused on battlefield cogitation, strategic analysis, and combat doctrine, and whose dedication inspired a worrying fanaticism in the Skitarii mountains she surrounded herself with. Deployed as reinforcement to Agrippina by the Fabricator General of Mars, who quickly judged Null's defences as completely inadequate and took over, deploying millions of fanatical Martian Skitarii across the system in a move that felt more like a hostile takeover than mere reinforcement. Many ancient war relics of Agrippina mysteriously made their way into the Archmagus Terminus's hands in the process, to better defend the planet. Quick, redirected all data streams into the hardest information, and within 300 standard Martian hours of arriving, she's not only created numerous, better in her opinion, plans of defense, but also pretty accurately defined the intention of Warsmith Morn's fleet. In her opinion, the only way to make a stand would be to make sure that at least one of the supply lines stayed open, and she judged the most important, likely the most heavily assaulted, the Oleandros, the target for Morn's own 17th Ground Company. Attack would be the best storm of defense, a stratagem agreed to with caution by Null and with enthusiasm by Lion and Waaaaar. When the explorative fleets arrived in the system, they found the assault already underway. A massive number of Chaos vessels were active in the system, with Oleandros, Peter, Gemini, and Delphos already at the assault. Delphos was clearly the military. The capital world of Oleandros Delphos was an Arctic mining area, whose hive cities were nestled within vast mountains. Chaos forces in the north of the planet already nothing given despite its defense and succeeded in taking much of the northern hemisphere in mines and manufacturing northern cities and nations. The Hive Mechanicus fleet barreled into orbit, task forces splitting off to engage Chaos ships around the nine sisters of Delphos moons as Hive and Waaaaar started to land troops around the southern city. Within days, the advance of the Iron Warriors swarmed as the Iron Hands led strike missions into their front lines, and macro planes of Skitarii reinforced the attacked cities, eventually resulting in the creation of a front line which stretched around the equator across the planet. It seemed the Loyalists might still hold out, but Freybeck Morn had no time to fight a lengthy battle here. All three of the surrounding worlds needed to be seized, and dealt with this in his usual very direct way. Freybeck Morn into the vast islands where brutal forward assault from the hive city of Hazek across the frozen Amphion Timberfields. An apocalyptic battle that saw every tool in the Chaos and Imperial forces deployed. Dozens of traitor guard regiments advanced, double lines of marching Iron Warriors, the skies darkened by demon engines and elderly flyers, trains of dark mechanical artillery firing ancient weapons into the sky as columns of armour, lance of Chaos Knights and the Titans, Furians, Mortis and Vulture, marched across the plain. They were met by the macro artillery of the Imperial Guard, a horde of Skitarii and Temporal warriors, outgunned swarms of Dune Riders and Archaeopters, supported by the Gladiators and repulsors of the Iron Hands and the Titans of Nietzsche and Vigilante. Both sides slammed into each other in massive battle. Shells the size of Land Rovers, hurled voids of Chaos Titans or squished hundreds of screaming cultists at a time. Waves of Skitarii fell into the shells of the Iron Warriors, and as every cyborg fell, two more stepped into their place. Slaughter ran at the height of the battle. Morn himself, deploying through the Raider Archexas, fought Ubria Ghoul, the Archmagus, tempered by centuries of warfare, armed with a bewildering array of ancient weapons, gave a great account of herself. The two warlords fighting for minutes as Ghoul's elite Skitarii and Mortar Titans fought to the death in the frozen mud, but eventually Morn got the upper hand and smote her with his hammer. Ghoul was forced to fall back, rushed into a waiting transport as Alpha and his honor guard waded into the fray. But as they charged into the Iron Warriors' lines, a nearby warhound of the Invigilata had internal explosions building up to only one outcome. Morn, Waaaaar, and Ghoul all raced to clear the area in their own way before the warhound's reactor blew, annihilating the centre of the battlefield and killing everything within 100 metres, including the elite of both armies. The line had held, sort of, and Freybeck Morn was forced to fall back, consolidate his forces, and begin the build-up for his next grand push. Oleandros would have to fall before war is brought to a end. And that is where we got to, another warfront open in an old location, and a setting for not only swirling raids and toy battles, but also apocalyptic mega battles on the surface as the Iron Warriors flipped their usual brutal tactics. And of course that's what these books include, rules for fighting apocalypse battles. If you're a newer player, Apocalypse and the concept has been around since at least the 3rd edition of the game. It's a series of rules for playing really big battles. Over time they went from just being tools for big weapons to a completely different game system, a simplified units so those games can even play at the time. The new rule set is more a set of recommendations that players can use to resolve normal game supported for a lot fast. Will people use them? I'm not sure. I think the last version of Apocalypse, the 8th edition, was actually one of the best games I've made in years. But I guess this works. Importantly, there's no Ferturado. My previous copy does not include the rules, but it doesn't really make an appearance in any battles. It's sort of behind the scenes manipulating things. So if you are looking forward to a return of the 4th Primarch, it might still be a while. Anyway, the Eye of Terror is back, and just in time for the Lands of 40 to move on to the next forefront, which looks like it's going to be Armageddon. So let's see how that story goes. Anyway, let's watch it.
And if you'd like to follow this series, well, like and subscribing. You'll probably get notifications. And check below for details of the Patreon.